Welcome to the Mega Podcast, where we delve into the inspiring stories of entrepreneurs, motivational coaches, and business leaders. Join us as we hear about their journey to success and the challenges they faced along the way. We'll uncover their secrets to perseverance and determination and gain valuable insights into what it takes to reach your goals. The journey may not be beautiful, but it is always purposeful. So sit back, relax, and be ready to be inspired by those who have dared to dream big and make it a reality. Wepa, what up, mi gente? It's your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Al Mega podcast, aka the A.M.P. And today, mi gente, do we have someone that is truly multi-talented. He is a comedian, a producer, a director, an author, and just an all-around cool guy. He got a dope new project out too that we're going to be talking about. Let me introduce the one, the only, the legend himself, el señor Victor Varnado. Wepa, how you doing?
All right, what's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for joining us today for the A.M.P, baby, and talking about your journey and all that goodness that you're putting out into the world, that entertainment, bringing joy and smiles to people's lives. So thank you, Victor. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. I sound great the way you describe me.
He's like, oh my God, I'm so no, but you are, brother. You are, man. I looked when thank you. Big shout out to Alex over at Podmatch. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have the honor of connecting with you and seeing everything you've done. And now we're going to talk about that journey of yours, which has been, based on what I've read, pretty fantastic. So just a little bit about yourself, Vic. Let us know where you're from. OG.
I originally hail from the South. Although I was born in Gary, Indiana, I grew up a lot in Alabama and Arkansas with my mom, my brother, and my sister. And then later on, I moved up to Minneapolis for my teen years and college years. And then finally New York.
And New York. So what age when you finally hit New York?
I was actually 27. I didn't hit New York for, as far as like other artists, usually they come to New York a little bit earlier. But yeah, I came when I was 27. I know it was like 1997, August 27th.
Oh, wow. He remembers the day.
I know specifically the day.
What about the hour and time? Because that's probably when you had the best pizza of your life. So, all right. So talk about you growing up and the way you did that led you on this path that you're on. What was your interest like when you were just a young lad?
When I was young, I was really interested in computers, rap music, and just art. I like to do. Like to do a lot of drawings, and then when I was young, though, the computers were like the first computers. It was like the Apple IIe. It was just like the old green letters on a green screen. Like those were the computers that I was using. And so that was what I was really focused on for a while. And then at one point I really got into entertainment specifically. And then that kind of took over once I turned like 19, 20. That was like, it was all about like being funny. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was it in entertainment that got you motivated to want to delve into that world?
Well, I think that this is so funny, but here we go. So I have a lot of anxiety, and I've had a lot of anxiety in my life. And though it seems counterintuitive, if you're being entertaining, you're like controlling the room. You know what I'm saying? And so like,
yes.
You're like in charge of everything. And so you don't have to like, because when you're not in control, that's when the anxiety is like, takes over. And so like that, I think that it just felt more comfortable than standing around with everyone, because I would have trouble like striking up conversations with people. And then I would just be like the creepy guy in the room, not talking to anybody. And then, but if I was on stage, if I was on stage, I wasn't the creepy guy in the corner not talking to anybody.
That logic kills me. So how did you even fight through that? I mean, here you are in the room, you can't do a thing. But see, I'm completely opposite. In the room, I could talk to anybody. You put me on the stage, I'm like Ralph Cramden with the homina. You feel me?
Yeah, but it's I don't know. It's just it's it that is part of what drives me. I don't think it is traditional maybe, but it's what drives me.
I'm digging it. So talk about you delving into these opportunities that was began coming your way, right? How did you even begin to step in to this world, if you will, in the entertainment? Once you knew that that's something you enjoyed.
Well, I my first big break actually just came by complete accident, where I love to dance and I would go out and dance with my friends. And then one day I was dancing and then a guy walked up and he was like, "Hey, I'm casting a music video," because I was a good dancer. And also I was albinistic and they wanted people with pale skin in this music video to uh, play angels. And then
Okay.
I was like, all right. And then I talked to the guy and then I went to the music video and it was an Elton John music video. And
What?
then, yeah, so I'm in this Elton John music video called Recover Your Soul. It's on YouTube. You can actually look it up if you want to. And then, but then the director of that music video liked what I did in the music video. So when he was directing End of Days starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, he asked me if I wanted to audition. And then I auditioned.
No.
And then that started my career. Not like I didn't become a giant star or anything, but it does, like when you make like those one or two things where you're like in something with like a major international name, it kind of legitimizes you and makes the rest of your career like a little bit easier moving forward.
Insane. Now I gotta ask, did you know in advance who you were going to be doing the videos for?
No, when he said you want to be in a music video, I was like, okay,
Sure.
because I was just brand new to New York, really.
Wait a minute, you just come to New York and you land in video jobs and people that live in New York all their lives get nothing?
I mean, well, think about this. Think about this. I moved to New York in 1997, and End of Days came out in 1999. So,
Whoa. Okay.
so it had to be shot, in 1998. So things moved pretty fast when I first came to New York.
Insane. What luck, man, was on your side. So how did you feel when as soon as almost like you land to New York, you're getting and finding opportunity? How was that feeling like, especially in those early 90s? This is pre-internet, folks, right?
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna be a giant star. That's what I thought. And then, but then there was a problem, which is after I got cast in a few things, then I realized that I was getting mostly cast because I was an albino and I was like a different looking person, and that really started to bug me. And then so that led me to doing more things that were behind the scenes and going into more producing and writing to kind of like show the world and myself that I had talents other than being physically different.
Oh, I love it. So talk about exploring those other talents then.
Uh, well, I mean, I do other things. I'm a New Yorker cartoonist. I've written.
How did you New Yorker? Oh, wait a minute, 'cause I saw you were a cartoonist, but you talking about New Yorker. How did you land an op in the New Yorker? That's crazy.
I I started submitting to the New Yorker, and I didn't stop until they said yes. until they said
He
until they
harassed them
started
to
buying
death.
them. I submitted hundreds of cartoons over like a year before they started buying them.
Wow. I mean, this is the old school way of doing things. So while you were mailing these cartoons weekly, what were you doing? We need to
Yeah,
know these steps, man. 'Cause this
yeah. I
is
would send
wild.
cartoons in weekly. Like every week, I would send in
Insane.
cartoons.
Insane. So what was it like when they finally said yes?
It was surprising.
I've been trying
when
for
they
only a
said
year.
yes. It was surprising. It was uh for me it was like a dream come true because as a cartoonist, that is one of the biggest things that you can do. It's one of the most prestigious things that you can be as a cartoonist, at least in my head at the time, was like to be a New Yorker cartoonist. Then once you're a New Yorker cartoonist for a few years and you and the other New Yorker cartoonists are grumbling about, everything. So, you it's just like anything else. It loses its luster. But yeah, I was
It's a
for
New York thing. We complain about everything. That's
yeah.
what we do. That's awesome. So talk about you because I know that as well. You started getting into production. You started doing directing. You even got into Marvel Comics. My God, I need to know what is your secret sauce. So after you did the New Yorker thing, how did you continue to develop your career?
Yes. I I mean, well, I mean that being a New Yorker cartoonist was actually only happened in the last like 4 or 5 years. But I
Oh,
mean,
really? Okay.
so yeah, well, I mean, I think the culmination of when I was describing like I wasn't really happy with the way my career was going and what I was doing, that also happened when I was producing. So 6 years ago I was producing on Love and Hip Hop. I
Oh,
was
dope.
producing one of their like spin-off shows for Stevie J. And when I was doing that, that was like the show that broke me because I was just like, I'm making good money, but I'm just like working on this show that is not, it's just not fun. Like I was making crap TV. And so I wasn't excited about it. So then I wanted to change how I did things. And when I decided to change how I did things, I started to just go after those things which I had dreamed about all my life. And one of them was being a New Yorker
Hmm.
cartoonist.
This guy. So let's reel it back even more. Then, so how did you even get into that production stage of life?
Well, uh, so when I said that I started to go into the writing and producing world more when I wasn't happy with the acting roles that I was getting, I just started making stuff. I started forcing myself to just make a short film every month because I knew I'd have to get good. And so
Every month.
yeah, so I made short films every month.
Yo.
And then
Whoa. That's
I
pretty
mean
crazy, Vic.
they weren't always elaborate. I mean, some of them were just pretty silly. As you
Listen, it's
might
time
imagine.
being put in, but again, you're putting in time and making your own path. So that's pretty impressive because I know a lot of filmmakers, and for them to get one project off the floor still takes a year. I mean, you're talking about it doesn't matter how small it is, you're still doing one film a month. I mean, that's pretty impressive, bro.
And that was just a way to train myself until I got to the point where I could do things well enough so that I could make my own productions. And I would basically go to people that I knew and just e- basically beg them to be like, "Hey, can you help me fund this?" And but I only did it until I only did it when I had enough money. I would know when I had enough skill. I wasn't asking people for money when I didn't have the skill. I worked on the skill first, and then the money came later. And so that just led me to producing some of my own stuff, and then I would produce things, and then I would be able to sell them, and they would pretty much break even. Like I made the Awkward Comedy Show, which is a comedy special that starred myself, Hannibal Buress, Eric Andre, and Marina Franklin and Baron Vaughn. And
Yo, how did you
yeah,
even meet these cats, yo? Because I know that you helped in the development of the careers of at least two of those people you mentioned. It's like, how did you even connect with it? Were they homies, or you just met
yeah,
through your
they're all just
journey?
we're just friends. We were just all like black nerdy comedians who kind of hung out together. And so yeah, they were
You're
just
the
friends.
original Blurs.
Yeah, something like that. And then we were just friends. And then at one point I wanted to make a special, and I just made a special with my friends. And so I called
Love
it
it.
the Awkward Comedy Show because I came up with the category for us, and then that became what the special was. And that sold to
Dude,
Comedy Central.
Yes, we know. Whoa,
Well,
crazy,
yeah,
man.
yeah, and so and I didn't make a bunch of money on that, but it broke even, which was great because that was one of the first productions that I did, and to even have your first production at least just break even is is not bad.
Listen, so long as you ain't putting more than two fingers into your pocket, I mean that's fantastic. So kudos on you, bro. So, what other journeys did you start once you did that and you saw that you had something special? How did that inspire you further?
Well, then the next thing that I did was I I uh just kind of kept going. So I kept making pitches and ideas for TV shows and trying to pitch them to people. And then the next thing that I made that actually got funded was a series called Realm of LARP. Do you know what LARPing is?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, live action role play,
So I
baby.
did a series where I followed people around when they were doing live action role playing, and then when they cast spells, I would like add in visual effects, and so I just made it like it was Lord of the Rings, but it was people just LARPing, and so it was a documentary series that kind of looked like a TV
Love
show,
it.
and so that was one of the big, and that was a thing that got licensed by Legendary Pictures, and so
Oh,
that
snap.
also became a thing, and then when someone saw that, that's when I started getting offers to work on other people's TV shows because
Really?
because
Okay.
that was such like a hit for what it was. Then they just got me other work, and then from there I just kept
So
working and working and working.
I gotta ask, are you a LARPer in real life, sir?
I would say, I mean, I love LARPing, but I wouldn't say I'm a, because the people, here's the thing. I've LARPed and I would LARP again, but I won't call myself a LARPer because I know people who are real LARPers. So I'm just
They're gonna
saying
be,
that,
how dare you, and blast us on this chat right now. So let's
exactly.
not blast Vic.
It's
He did
just,
his thing and he helped the community.
it's just like a lot of people can put on tap shoes, but not everybody's a tap dancer.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. I got some moves too, but yeah, I ain't putting on no tap. That's for sure. That's awesome, brother. So talk to me about, because you also see that you've been a writer. I'm obviously a comic book fan, but you've done stuff for Marvel. Like, yo, what we talking about here, homie?
Yeah, I was really excited about that. I'm a big comic book fan too. And so I had some interaction with some people who edited at Marvel, and one at one point they were looking for comedians to who are comic book fans to write funny comics based on the Marvel crossover event that year. And then so
Okay.
I had a crossover event joke that I wanted to write for so long, just like a jokey Marvel thing, and I pitched it to them and they liked it, and then it became the lead story in that anthology book, which was called Shame Itself.
Woo, man! I'll let you feel. I mean, landing with that with Marvel, son. I mean, who doesn't start with Marvel or DC at some point? I started with Marvel, and I started with the Saga of Chris Star #2. That's my first book that I have on the wall, as beat up as it is.
Uh-huh. I think I was really happy. I've loved Marvel all my life, and I would read like really obscure comics. Like, have you ever heard of this comic called Alien Legion?
Oh my God, yes. The cover art on those books used to fucking fascinate me, Victor. Fascinate me. And again, seeing that the name and all, you're like, yo, what is this? As a kid, I used to always kind of, I'm an indie guy. As much as I love
Yeah,
Marvel and DC, that's where we got. I'm an indie guy, hands down. And I know
yeah.
Marvel was through the Alien Legion was through the Epic line, right? Was it Epic?
I don't know.
I know it was in the mall, but it was definitely the artwork on those covers. Alien Legion. Always, I have the whole run on digital format because
It
I
reminded
loved
me
it that much.
it reminded me of a Frank Frazetta style, but it was space instead. The art on the
Yeah,
covers.
it
Yeah,
was
anyway,
wonderful.
that was a great book. It was one of my favorites. Actually, it was like I got really hooked on that there's like certain books every once in a while I just get really hooked on them, and then I just get almost every issue that I can possibly get. Um, one that I one that I did recently was Invincible, before, like years before it became a TV show. I had every issue of Invincible because I just loved that comic because it was just so crazy.
You said
And I love a
had.
good superhero. Well, I still
Please don't
have it,
tell
I
me you
guess.
sold them. Oh, okay, I'm about to
No,
say
no,
yeah,
this
because you know how much you know how much those early issues are going for, Victor. Insane amount of dollars. So you picked it up at the right time. Me, I had a choice. I remember when that came out, but Walking Dead was also next to it. And because
Oh
I'm a
wait, the
horror and
physical
zombie
issues.
fan, I went Walking Dead. Oh yeah, I have. Listen, the physical issues of Invincible was around the same era as The Walking Dead, but I ignored Invincible and picked up Walking Dead, and which I regret.
I may have some. That's funny. I may have like some very early. I may even have Invincible #1
Oh
because
my
I mean
gosh, bro.
I bought some of them physically and some of them digitally, and so like,
Okay.
but I started out physically.
Yes. Oh yeah, I need my books. I need to smell the ink. I'm one of those. You know what I mean? That 60s ink will get you high as a mother. So I'm just saying. So I also know that you have another new project out that it's a new book and it has to do with racism and it's a coloring book.
It is an
What are we,
activity book.
an activity book. Yeah. So talk to me. What are we talking about here? I mean, when I saw that little clip and I said activity, I'm like, oh, okay. So talk to me. What is this book? What inspired it? And where can I buy it? Like right now, my wallet is out of my pocket right now, ready for you. So let's go.
If you want to buy it, you can just go straight to Amazon. It's on Amazon, and you can buy it, and it'll be in your pocket in 2 days. Uh, and it is called the Anti-Racism Activity Book. And if you want to just go to the book website, it's antiracism.online. Anyway,
Okay.
so the way what it so it is a highlights magazine. If you ever had that when you were a kid, it's like a highlights magazine style activity book, but it's all a satire about racism, especially in the United States. Because I think racism is dumb. Anyway, I don't know if anybody else is with me on that.
Who are you talking to? You know what I mean? Believe you me, growing up in New York, I dealt with that, and I was a victim of profiling throughout my teen years up until I was the age of 40 when I
and
left
there
New York, and the profiling was not, around in other places.
and and so basically, when in 2020, when during the death of George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, actually,
Yeah,
I made a
murder.
cartoon for the New Yorker, um, and I made a cartoon for the New Yorker responding to it, and then that became one of the most shared cartoons in 2020, yeah, in 2020, it became one of the most shared New Yorker cartoons, and then
Wow.
and then uh, I kept making cartoons about what was going on, and that just made my Instagram like a little more popular, and eventually that became the inspiration for doing this as a book. So it's a book that's just continuing the conversation that I started, and the cover of the book is actually a redrawing of the cartoon from the New Yorker that originally was uh I
Oh,
guess viral. Yeah,
okay.
it was shared by like Viola Davis and Questlove. Like a lot of people
Oh,
shared it.
whoa,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Well, of course. I mean, you're offering valuable information. May I ask, have you ever been in those situations as a young man where you were unfortunately maybe dealing with
Oh,
such
absolutely.
things?
I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff. I mean, as a black person with albinism, I've been around white people when they did not know someone black was around, and I've heard some crazy
Mm.
stuff. I've actually been around black people who didn't know I was black. And so like I've just,
Oh.
I've been in a lot of just situations and seen a lot of stuff. Overall, I just would say that racism is just stupid. And
Well,
so
again, it's a
I'm
man-made
trying to
thing, right? These
yeah.
these are just words that people have made up to divide us. Unfortunately, we're all really part of one race as a whole, and that's the
Yeah,
human race. Because
I'm
if
just
you all
trying
cut us, we bleed red. You know what I mean?
I'm just trying to spread the word that racism is dumb.
It is dumb. It's dumb. It's
Yeah.
stupid. Again, coming from New York, I mean, and you live there, you know that is an ultimate melting pot of cultures and diversity, all mixed into one stew. And at the end of the day, at least the way I grew up, I never saw the color or the race. We were just homies hanging together trying to survive on the hood. Because what we cared
Mhm.
about was, your hood better not be messing with my hood. We were hood races, not neighborhood races, not if you will, like Morgan versus Kingsland. We didn't like those guys, no
Gotcha.
matter who they were. That's the way we grew up. So we bonded together regardless of class and color and against other neighborhoods, just like good old days in back in New York. And now we laugh about those days where like, wow, we were fighting over stupid neighborhoods we don't even own. Exactly. Love it. So, bro, I mean, how do you feel living this life that you've had, this journey? I mean, being this small town kid from down south, you hit up north, and now you're like all over the place. You've touched so many amazing things in the world of entertainment. How do you feel as a person to be involved in so much that actually people have had the honor of viewing and laughing at, and you give them a peace of mind moment, if you will.
I guess I would say in the past I was more wound up in how many people knew me or saw me or whatever. But lately, what I'm more happy about is I'm just really happy that I get to do things that I really like for my living. Like that makes me very
Yeah.
happy. And so I'm trying to do as much as I can to expand that and to kind of like make the money that I need to do to protect my family. And that's what I'm most concerned about. I just want to be happy with my family and just have a good time.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, isn't that the goal for all of us? So, can you share with us some of those secrets on how we can also go on that journey, to that road that you're on where we could just love what we do? How can somebody get out of the doldrums of their day jobs and follow their passion, in your opinion?
I I mean, I think that it's hard and it's not hard because it is um difficult, but it's hard because everybody has like anxiety and an ego. And the anxiety means it's hard to strike out on your own. It's hard to be like, I'm going to take a chance and do this because what if it falls apart? What if? And those what ifs are real what ifs. Um, but then uh and I get it because but it's also possible that it's also possible to like make money in ways that people have too much ego to do. For instance, like
Hmm.
you can make $200,000 a year washing cars 3 days a week, but a lot of people just won't do that, you know. And
Hmm.
so the combination of both. Whereas, like, if you're saying to yourself, "I want to do things on my own," really, then you should make $200,000 a year for a year or two and save up the money so that you can go try things on your own and be comfortable. Or you should go and not be comfortable and try to do things on your own. And those two things always exist. You could if you wanted to, you could wash cars for 2 years and probably say, and then also while you're washing cars for 2 years, only 3 days a week, you could be studying the rest of the time to know how to invest your money at the end of those 2 years so you could be set up for the rest of your life, and then you could do whatever you want. So if you could from now to 2 years from now do whatever you want for the rest of your life, if all you had to do was learn and wash cars and you knew that would work for sure, then uh that's the thing. It it's it's there, it's possible, but it's our anxiety and our ego which stops us. And when I got to the point where I was just like, I'm just going to do whatever I need to do to like make this, and I have been uncomfortable. I chose the route of I want to do what I want to do, and I'll be uncomfortable. And I've been uncomfortable, I've been broke, I've been, I did that route, but I chose one of them.
Okay.
That's all.
You made a choice, and look at that. But it's a good choice, even though you go through your struggles. You're still in this whole world of opportunity. So it's fantastic. I think road to pave. I mean, I have a day job and I do this on the side and I keep building. Now you give me a rag and a bucket, I'll go wash cars too. Let's get it done, baby. New York hustler right here. Get
uh,
200 racks. Heck yeah, let's make it happen, baby. That's what I dig. So now I also know you have a podcast, right? And you have a partner in this, Rachel. Talk about this podcast and how, what is it about and how often does it drop, so that way my viewers could go ahead and subscribe like ASAP.
Wiki Listen is a podcast that drops every day, and it's a podcast where it's like a lot of fun facts. Basically, Rachel and I read Wikipedia pages and we tell you what we think about them. It's a good time. Some of the pages are like, creepy. There's one called Terreur about this French soldier who had an eating disorder, like he was always hungry and he may have eaten a child.
What?
Yeah. Then there's one
I hope
page.
it was cooked.
One page we read called ferret legging, which is a sport that they play in Australia where they try to stick ferrets in their pants, and whoever can hold the ferret in their pants the longest wins.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's like there's so many crazy Wikipedia pages.
Are the ferrets hungry? Because I'd be very concerned.
Yes, they are. Part of the rules is the ferrets must have sharp claws and teeth.
Oh my gosh! Heck no, man. My family jewels still work at my age, so no, no ferrets in my pants. Victor, may I ask you, would you put a ferret in your pants?
No.
Just gotta ask, you know what I mean? Since it came up. I am digging it. So this drops daily. When did you come up with this podcast and why Wiki?
Well, one of the things that I did before I started doing a podcast was I researched what performs well as a podcast. And then one thing that people like is funny and they like information, especially detailed information. But shows like that usually take a long time to research unless you're reading from a Wikipedia page where the research is already done for you.
Okay, gotcha. So you took the shortcut, brought the funny, and boom, there we go. And talk about Rachel, since she's not here. But who's your teammate? How did you hook up with your teammate for this show?
Rachel and I have been friends for a while, and she also worked as a producer for my company, and continues to work as a producer for my company. And she she's my friend too, and so we started the podcast together, and just had a good time being stupid on the air. It really is. I've created a business around hanging out with my friends, so pretty happy about it.
Everybody would love to do that. Let me tell you. So that's awesome, and kudos on you, Vic. I mean, look at you. You producer, director, author, writer. I mean, Marvel TV, everything, podcasting. My gosh, bro, how do you find time in the day to be involved in so much things? What is your secret to time management, if you will?
I have a list, and anything that goes on the list gets done. And so either it's done by me or it's delegated to somebody else. And so I just have this list that's easy to put things on. So like my phone is always within reach. There's a little button on my phone that adds stuff to that list, and that also shows up on my computer. And then that means I don't have to keep remembering things, which is, I think, one of the things that makes people procrastinate is because they think there's so many things to do that they kind of get stuck not doing anything because they don't know what they should do first. And for me, I look at this list, and the things that seem more important, I move down closer to the bottom, and I do one thing at a time. And that's how I get things done.
Brother, you speaking to a master here, because I'm old school. I got notepads everywhere. Write down and put a circle next to it. That circle means that if there's no check on that circle, it ain't done yet. Once I see that check, and I check mark things off. People think I'm nuts that I do that, but it makes me efficient.
I have to see it really helpful.
I have to see it in my face. I have to see it in my face. Love it. So what else can we be expecting from you in the future, Vic? Because it seems like you keep popping up and doing things. So what's next in the Varnado verse?
Well, I do have an app that just launched.
An app.
So
Oh
yeah,
snap.
so I made an app. Actually, you'll probably like this because it was originally made for one of my other podcasts. It's an app that can take a transcript of audio and then turn it into an ebook in one click. So
What?
yeah, so basically
Ooh.
you can uh you can just take a transcript of you talking about whatever subject, and then it could turn it into an ebook that covers that subject, but it takes notes and arranges the material correctly so that you don't have to do the first draft yourself, and then it does the first
Say
draft and you could take it
what?
from there. Yeah, and so it's called the Magic Bookifier,
Magic.
MagicBookifier. And if you go there, you can actually try it for free. And so magicbookifier.ai, BOOK
Oh, I love it.
IFIER
AI. You
dot
got me.
AI.
You said AI. So how do you feel about AI nowadays? I mean, you've made an app out of it, but how do you feel as an individual about AI and then as a business person?
I think that it's a good thing. I think everybody should be using AI. The reason is because if you just imagine that the smartest person in the world is willing to give you 100% of their attention, and yeah, they're willing to give you 100% of their attention, and they'll help you with anything you ask them to. That's
Hmm.
basically what AI is like. And so that sounds good.
So you and me both pick the brain of the genius. Why not?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and sure, the person is not a person, it's a robot, but still they have good ideas.
You're not lying. I'm a big fan of playing around with the Chat GPT, Copy AI, Coolbot, and all these cool things. Dolly, um,
Mhm.
I'm digging it. I love this whole AI world. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool things, and I'm not one of those technophobes that are, oh, it's the end of the world. No, it's not. Chill. It's a tool like any other, and just learn how to use it to your advantage. I mean, it's not really that difficult, folks. So that's why I get upset when I hear people, oh, this is the end of this or the end of that. No, it's not. No, it's not.
There's always people doing that though. Like no matter at any time when something changes or something is really innovative, there's always been people who have been like, "No, I don't want to do." Like there were people who were like, "Put the toilet in the house? Absolutely not." There's
Yeah,
people like that.
right? You're not lying, man. Listen, my family from PR, where they still had latrines, toilets outside the house,
Yeah, my
so
my
I
my
get it.
grandparents in Forest City, Arkansas had an outhouse for a
Outhouse.
while
Oh
when I
my
was
God.
young. Yeah.
Yeah, and Spanish la letrina. You have to go outside and then come into the house with a towel on so you could change the shit if you got your clothes. was not good. Then you're getting your feet dirty all over again. No, thank God they're indoors. People just didn't know. And then with cars, right? Didn't they have people warning for cars before they had the flag
Mhm.
waivers? Car coming down, and that was actually a job. There's a car, and the car would have to drive only 5 miles an hour. Old school jobs, man. Things happen when there's a new technology, right? Metallica went nuts over the MP3s, right? And Napster. And next thing you know, now MP3s are everywhere. Thanks, Metallica.
Yeah, you can't find like they're just like if something I mean, really, if something makes things more convenient for the general public, you shouldn't fight it.
Agreed. Agreed. And if it helps you look a little bit smarter too, folks, I think you shouldn't be that mad.
Mm.
Because AI will make you look like a genius, let me tell you. All right.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm digging it. So Vic, man, are you gonna be doing any shows or anywhere, conventions, or anywhere where we could see you live? What's popping?
I'm starting up. I have a show that I did last year, and I want to start it up again in New York. It's a weekly stand-up comedy show called
Yes.
Dynamo Kingdom. So I want to start it up again, and so make that happen.
Make it happen, please. I'm a comedy fan, and I'll rent the car to go see the show. Let's make it happen, please. I
We
love
will.
comedy. I love comedy. I've seen many of the greats back in the day in New York, so I know you're gonna line it up with the greats too. So it will definitely be a lot of fun. And are
Yeah.
you gonna take the floor yourself?
Oh, definitely.
Hey, man, that you're one comedian I have not seen live yet, so I definitely would love to see what you got going.
Yeah,
I
when you're
would not
around.
sit. No, no, wait, no, no. I'm gonna sit in the back. You won't know when I'm around because I don't want you picking on me. I'm digging it. Yo, Vic, you are the man. I'm digging your energy. I'm digging everything that you're doing, bro. Bless you on this journey. Now, before we go today, what type of advice would you give to anyone also trying to come up in the game and get themselves out there like you have?
Um, I would say, there's so much information out there. There's a lot of mistakes that you don't have to make if you just listen and do your research. There's a lot of people out there with a lot of great advice who've done a lot of great stuff. Sometimes you have to sift through them, true, but there's a lot of mistakes that you don't have to make.
Gotcha. So be mindful of your research, folks. The information is out there for you to succeed.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people will say, go for your dreams, but not enough people say, hey, here's how to go for your dreams and get them, but also survive. And that's
Yes,
what I'm
yo,
talking
Vic,
about.
preach, Vic. It's true. Hey, oh, you could do this. Sure, go get it. You could do anything. Sure. How do I do it?
Yeah.
No one will share that secret sauce, those ingredients. Strange, very strange. But it's okay. We're all gonna make it. We're all here, and we're all doing what we gotta do. And I'm digging it. So, Victor, I want to say thank you again for your time, folks. I've been showing this off. So at the bottom, it's also at the bottom of the chat in the notes. You can follow Victor on social on Instagram at Roboto Supremo. Facebook at Victor Varnado and at Twitter at Varnado. Yeah, man. And of course, check out Vic and his homie Rachel on their podcast. You can go visit them at their website at wikilisten.com. Shows drop daily to put a smile on your face and you might learn something. I'm digging it. Vic, any last words before we go?
Thank you.
There we go. Follow the homie, follow comedy. These are the type of people we need that are bringing greatness into the world, bringing fantastic entertainment, and most importantly, making you want to smile. So I really hope to see that comedy show real soon. All right, make it happen. You know what it is, folks. Follow me at the almegapodcast.com website. You can get all the links there to follow me on social. And please also follow my extended family over at comiccrusaders.com and undercovercaves.com. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening. Much love. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Wepa! And that's a wrap for today's episode of the A.M.P Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed listening to the insights and stories from our guests. Remember, success is a journey, not a destination. And every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goals. Don't give up on your dreams and keep pushing forward. Until next time, thank you for tuning in and stay motivated.